Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a team here around the Lantern and the newly released Scald version of the Tentacruel. I got this build sent in from Poketotti and they only said for any information I need to know is I am from Brazil. So shoutouts to Brazil. I don't know why it's always Brazil and India says where they're from, but it's kind of a meme in the community. So shoutouts to Brazil. I don't really mind it. We are taking a look at those battles now. Of course, this language is not the language that I at least know, but it's kind of funny to look at, to be honest. As we see here, the Lantern having access to Spark. I'm not the biggest fan in this scenario to have Spark Lantern, to be honest. I think that the water gun version might be a little bit better here, because this is the safe swap of this team. So yeah, you can get walled pretty easily by Stunfisk in the back, especially if Stunfisk is, in general, like if you take a look at this team, there's no clear Stunfisk inside like this. I think Water Gun would be a little bit better of a fit, but this is just what I think, as we see here Water Gun Lantern against them, which is good for them because they are a water type. And now they can just go for the Acid Spray spam, and Acid Spray spam is just so crazy. The opponent didn't even shield, which doesn't help them whatsoever, because the damage that they're going to really not appreciate is the fast move damage. And this is mainly the bread and butter of the Tentacruel, having access to the Poison Jab plus the Acid Spray, while having now also Scald to do some pretty decent damage for not much more energy is pretty nice. As we see in the next battle, of course we see immediately a Stunfisk here, which is very good for you that you see it here, because you really don't want to face through the backline. Again, I think the water gun version would be better for the Lantern, but this is a general thing. Also, I really like this team's building in general. Like, I really like that this team is working like this, how it is. I think just this is the only thing that I would change, would be like water gun, but otherwise I think the team looks amazing, and I kind of want to try this team out as well with my Shadow Sableye. Would be really interesting to take a look at this as well. But yeah, here we see the opponent going for the charge move, and they now swap into their Lantern. They're going to be able to win CMP, but they swap into their own Lantern, which means that this damage doesn't really do anything, but it doesn't really matter too much, to be honest, because you kind of want to get some damage on them for the Thunderbolt coming up as the opponent baits them. Very nice bait by the opponent. You can go for one Thunderbolt, and this is going to put them into a range where, okay, never mind, you need a Surf again, I guess. You need a Surf. Surf and Spark should be enough, I guess. One Thunderbolt here will not KO you either, so you should be fine going for one Surf and KOing this opposing Lantern. As we will see that they go for another Surf here to KO this thing. They have now a shield advantage, they have switch advantage, but they only, the Stunfisk comes actually in here, which is going to go down from this move as well, which is amazing, because now you have an Altaria, and the Altaria doesn't want to get hit by the Acid Spray. It's going to be still very close to win this game. They're going to shield this move up anyway. They didn't let this move go through. I mean, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Doesn't really matter at all. You can shield just the next one. Can you go for a Scald? No, I think you should go for a Scald. I think Scald does more damage than the Acid Spray, and you don't really have the fast move pressure anymore. So I think maybe a Scald would have been nice, but maybe you can still get to a Surf. Never mind, the Surf is actually coming through here. It's going to be enough to KO the opponent. That's kind of insane. Maybe it was actually the right play then to do this. We see the next match up here. I guess they swapped already. I think they started the recording a little bit late, but doesn't really matter. I wonder what they faced, and lead seems to be actually a good lead for them. If the opponent swapped into an Altaria and they swapped into their closer here, basically. You should maybe try to start going for Scald after one debuff already, even if it's resisted. But okay, now they're shielded up, that's fine then. But you really can't underestimate the damage of Scald after one debuff of the Acid Spray. Like, this thing going to be really strong. Now we see what they had in the lead. And it seems to be a Azumarill. Interesting, as they can go for two more Acid Spray here. That's going to be very detrimental for this thing. You can just go into your Lantern and look how much Spark even does against an Azumarill. That's kind of insane. As they go for one player off here, and we see the swap into Beganium. You're going to go for the return here. If you don't go for the return, you're going to have some problems. So I hope you go for the return here. You are not going for the return because the opponent threw the wrong move. I guess now it's fine. But you have to go for two now. So you would have been also most likely able to just KO him with one return, I think, at this range. But if they didn't go for the Earthquake, they would have been able to outspeed you, I think, to the next move. So good thing that they went for the Earthquake, otherwise you couldn't have went for two moves here, which is going to allow you to win this game now. Interesting lead here, you have to stay in, and I think you lose in the 2 shield, but they swap into a mana bus, which allows you now to go into your Lantern, which really enjoys this matchup, especially against Air Slash version here. But you still have to be a little bit careful about the Empoleon in the back there. Empoleon might be a little bit tricky to deal with later on. As we can see here, the trainer going for one Thunderbolt. This Thunderbolt going to do some pretty nice damage, and you can farm him all the way down now. That's really nice for you. Foul play coming through here, going to do a little bit of damage, but not too much. And now you can... They go into the Empoleon, so they're double weak, they're triple weak to Electric, I guess. They're gonna let this move go through. It's a 9 hits in the back, and this game is already over. You're just playing with the opponent right now. You can just go straight into the Tentacruel here, and there's nothing that the opponent can do. As you can see here, the fast move damage is adding up. They even go for one asset spray. They could just farm all the way down. Like, there's nothing that the opponent can do here, and this is going to be a good game. Next up, we're going to see a very good lead there with the... Oh, you should swap out immediately, to be honest. I hope you swap out now. Go into Tentacruel. Yeah, Tentacruel can farm it down. Of course, like, Shadow Shift is something that you don't see as often, so I would most likely also be a little bit surprised and didn't know what to do here, but they actually go for a Hurricane and get shielded, which is funny. And here's one benefit of having Scald now. Scald can come through and completely destroy this thing. You can now go for Acid Spray, actually, yeah. And you can try to force a shield here or try to farm this thing down. Sadly, they didn't shield, but you can still farm down. And what is happening? There's nothing that the opponent can do here now. You can just go for Acid Spray, and you can just go for Poison Jab, and this thing is actually way better than I thought. You even swap out here, which was not really necessary, but doesn't really hurt either. I think you could have stayed in for a little bit longer, and you could have done more damage with the other fast move, but the opponent also decided already this was enough for them. Like, honestly, Medicham Tentacruel so far looks so good. As we see here, one foul play landing. Ooh. I mean, yeah, you resist all the moves, but I think you should have been way better off going into your Lantern here, because Lantern wouldn't resist those moves, but would have had super effective moves against it. But it's not wrong, like, it's not wrong, especially if you farm it all the way down. I think it's fine here. They go for one more Bug Buzz, they get the defense drop, but now you have 100 energy, so I guess no, it's fine. That's a good one. This was a good swap, which I wouldn't have done most likely, but I think it's not a wrong swap either. As they go into a Lantern now, so you can align your own Lantern against it immediately, and definitely, like, this player does know what to do. Like, this player here, who gives us those nice battles here, definitely knows how to play Go Battle League. I'm pretty sure it's actually kind of funny. I would like to have, like, I don't know, like, guessing the rank or whatever what they get. I definitely think that this trainer most likely gets Legend, or at least, like, Expert or whatever, because, like, the plays that they do here are actually pretty decent, and definitely good level plays there. As we see a Medicham coming in here, and the Medicham doesn't really want to do anything here. But also we see a lot of positive leads. Again, here, positive lead as well. I'm not sure if he only sent in the battles that he won, or if he just had a crazy win streak with it. I'm not sure. I cannot tell. The only information that I got is that they're from Brazil, so we see here the Bone Clap coming through, so nice bait by the opponent. You can just shield and farm it all the way down at this point. The damage of Shadow Claw is just adding up. As we see Slurpuff coming in, you can just go for the bait, okay? You can swap out, I guess, no. You don't get the shield, sadly, but you can swap now into your Poison type, farm it down. And they might have another Charm user in the back, to be honest, because their lead is like weak to Dark types. So it's pretty likely that they have something in the back that can also beat Dark types. As we see a Flamethrower coming through here, all moves are kinda okay for you, Tentacruel. Also we see the Mirror coming back in, you go for a charge move here. Maybe not necessary, but definitely would do some stuff there. As we see, yeah, again, something that can beat Dark types is a Fighting type, which is fine for you. You have your answers for Fighting types in general, and even the Lantern has a very decent matchup against the Machamp here. They go for the charge move here, going to be a cross chop. No, okay, you would have only needed a cross chop at least. Going to be a Rock Slide, I guess. But again, very positive lead there for the Sableye with the Nidoqueen. But Sableye lead is in general underrated, because most people just expect it as a Say swap, and seeing it in the lead is confusing for some people. As we see a Fighting type coming in, you get the shield here, which is amazing. You can go for the Acid Spray and you can try to farm it down, because if you can farm it down and get some extra energy here, you're going to be actually able to go for, okay, he goes for the Scald, it's also not a bad play, but you're going to be able to get 2 Scalds against the I think it's actually the better play as well. To get to scalds against the NiRiain that comes in later. They go for a power punch here, which is not enough, and now you have one scald stored here, which definitely would KO the opponent, which is very nice, very excelente, as we see the attack drop that Scald can do, which is cool, and we see an Obstagoon coming in here. Usually this would be bad, you still survive this, especially with the AV spread that you have here, and it's an Obstruct that's kinda awkward actually, it's actually way worse for you. You're going to do less damage with this now, you're going to not have him into range where you can go for one more charge move that would KO him. But you also still have a Lantern with 2 shields left, so I'm not really too scared. You also still have your Tentacruel in the back that can get some help for the defense. The opponent just gets all the boosts, it's insane. They get Obstruct boost now again as well. They have to go for the Surf now. They're actually going to swap onto the Tentacruel, clearing the debuff on the own Lantern, getting max. They get another boost. Holy hell, they got they're I think +2 defense, +4 attack. And they're still going down there, and they're still going to lose this game, as this will KO the NiRiain, and it's going to be a good game there to the opponent, as we see a horrible lead finally. As we see now a NiRiain coming in here, something that I also really want to showcase still, as we see the shield coming up, and they can go ahead and let this move go through. There's nothing that one-shots you, this is a Sand Tomb, and you can just go for the Surfer, as Surf going to do some pretty decent damage, not KOing it, but does some nice damage. Water Gun would have been better again, by the way, just saying, as you can go ahead and go for more Surfs here. And you should be able to hopefully realign, but they're actually going to shield it up. You have to hope now basically that they're weak in the back to your Tentacruel. You should let this move go through. Tentacruel, I mean you can, yeah, it's also okay. It's okay, you can farm up extra energy. You have now a move stored, and if Tentacruel someday gets a little bit sick of it, I wouldn't have thrown this move, to be honest. You have your hardest ends on the back still. I know you can just farm down now, but you could have farmed down anyway. It's actually a team that's close to what I want to run as well. Here with, actually it's basically the team that I want to run with the Kaiwei Chang now in the back. And they might actually have this for my video, to be honest. That's kind of funny. But yeah, this is also one team that I showcased on the top 10 teams around new Pokemon. If you haven't seen this video, highly recommend you. Definitely a cool team unless you face this kind of team here. We see here the Weather Ball doesn't do enough, and they can just farm it down. Good game there. Definitely, I think they might have had a better chance to went into the Kaiwei Chang against the Lantern instead of the NiRiain, because you have the water weakness, but so be it. We see here that you can go for some very nice moves. It's very good that you have the Galarian Stunfisk now in the lead here. You don't really want to face it in the back line there, especially if you run Spark, and you're gonna get the shield here already. You can let this move go through actually, and they're gonna go let this move go through. You can still get to another move. You can shield this. I think you should shield this. You shield it. Again, this player definitely knows what they're doing. This is not an ace player at all, at least from what I've seen. Definitely should be a legend player here. As we see a Jumpluff coming in with a new move as well. The new move gets also resisted by this very nice Tentacruel here, so you're going to be able to do some pretty nice damage with the fast move. As we see them going for some Acid Spray. They're staying in the opponent, and you're going to be able to definitely farm this thing down if they stay in for longer. You're going to let this move go through. I think I like this idea behind it, as you expect them to have something weaker in the back for you now, and you can go into your Lantern yourself. You're going to be able to do some pretty decent damage with your Thunderbolt now, because now it one-shots. Before it wouldn't have one-shot. As you can see here, it doesn't even two-shot usually, but now it should one-shot the opposing Lantern already, and this should be a good game as far as I can see, as they can just go straight for 2 Thunderbolt and they should be fine. Even if the opponent baits you here, which they're not going to do, you're going to be fine, and you should be able to even get to a Surf against the incoming Jumpluff then, and you should be pretty decently able to win this game here. As we see the Surf coming through, Surf going to do a lot of damage, as you can now swap and finish this Pokemon off with a Tentacruel into the final game. Seems to be all wins so far, but I mean it's also like first few days where the opponents are usually also not the best, so like people have those win streaks. I also had like a 9-game win streak with the Shadow Hitmonlee, so nothing too sus here. As we see the Sableye going for some moves, we can go for our own moves there with the Sableye. As you swap now into the Lantern, you have an ABB line, so you kind of want to get out the answer for the Tentacruel in the back. There you go for the charge move. You can get hit by this nice surf. The surf should do enough to KO you from this range already. And you will see that the Deoxys comes back in. Very good for you. You can just go for the Thunderbolt. You don't get into the risk where you get hit by one Psycho Boost against your Tentacruel. And Tentacruel as a closer in general looks like such a good Pokemon. As we see the Thunderbolt coming through, they swap out into their Walrein. You have to be a little bit careful about the Earthquake, which I don't think even would KO you. But you can go for 2 Acid Sprays here. First one gonna hit, they're going to go for maybe the bait here. They have to go for the bait in my opinion. And they don't, like they shield not here, that's kind of crazy. But you can just no shield this as well, and I think you're fine. They can just go for 2 moves, and you can just farm this thing all the way down. You don't have to throw even. And they don't throw, you can just farm it down, go for one charge move against the incoming Deoxys, and you should be able to win this final game as well. Thanks for sending in those battles, definitely a good player here playing those battles. I don't really have anything to say other than I would run the water gun again on the Lantern. But that's going to be it for the video, thanks all for watching, see you next video, have a great rest of your day, bye!